crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. With your morning horn of Z is your sip of chaga coffee. Okay, silver broke $19 last night. I don't even know what to say anymore about the concept that the price of silver is completely divorced from any kind of fair market value. This is being done by the Treasury, the Fed, and the banking cabal, shall I call them, all working together against you with a team of regulators at the CFTC, and I'll get to that in a second, that covers up what's going on. Yes, JP Morgan put a new commissioner in there. Citibank put a new commissioner in there. Completely regulatory capture is what they call it. It's when the banks and their regulators are pretty much the same people. So yeah, you get shit like this. They can click a mouse and put silver to minus $40. It's easy. They did it with oil. They can do it with silver. They can do it with Bitcoin. They can do it with anything. Because what is trading is not the actual underlying asset. It's derivatives. It's fake trades. I mean, there's no exchange in the crypto world on the planet that has the kind of volumes that get traded every day. It's insane. I've seen the 2 billion ounce trading day on the Comex in a single day when it takes a mountain of people to mine the 800 million ounces they get out of the ground every year. But on the Comex, to set the price, to rig the price, they can dump 2 billion ounces, no problem. What's to stop them from dumping 20 billion ounces on the Comex? How about 200 billion or 2 trillion or 200 trillion? Nothing. Nothing. That's how fake this bullshit is. Anyway, I did want to point something out, though, as silver retraced and got above $19 again. It went down to $18.90-something cents. If you want to buy the bottom, you know, it's just ridiculous. But I want to point this out. We are now above 90-to-1 silver-gold ratio. We're at 92. If you have any gold, it's the worst financial mistake you'll ever make. Not because gold's not a great thing. I do understand gold. I think there's a lot more gold than they're telling you, but I understand why it's very important to have gold. But once you get to that point where you understand it's important to have gold, there are two monetary metals. One they don't want you to think about or talk about, and that is silver. They don't want you to think or talk about it because it's also needed in industrial uses. It's needed everywhere else except where it's most needed, because it's the bank killer, is as a monetary metal. Silver will always be a monetary metal no matter what the banks tell you, no matter what Jeffrey Christian will tell you. No, there isn't 100 million ounces of silver that is sold retail every year. It's probably triple that, quadruple that. But that's what CPM puts out there. It's just bullshit. It's a lie. And yeah, that's the world we deal in. So if you have any gold, congratulations, you're halfway there. Take all that gold and swap it for silver. Go down to your local coin shop. You won't get 90, but you'll get, should get in the 80s probably. 80 ounces, 85 ounces for silver. They got to make their commission on the sales and things like that. If you don't have a local guy, contact Andy Sheckman. He's my broker. He does everything online. Send him an email, info at milesfranklin.com. Tell him, hey, I got bars of gold that I want to swap for silver. And he'll let you know how many you can get, depending on what kind of silver you want to get. I suggest 1 ounce rounds. Keep it small. I mean, when silver hits $1,000, a 100 ounce bar is going to be worth $100,000. It's going to be hard to cash that without melting it down or drilling into it. Anybody with a gold bar, 10 ounces or above, they're going to need to drill it at some point to make sure there's gold in there, because a lot of them are fake. And the fakes are so good these days. Unbelievable amount of fake silver eagles coming out of China. Anyway, at least somebody's making, here it is. Somebody's making silver eagles. Somebody's making silver eagles right here. The U.S. Mint is not. Look at the numbers for silver eagles. It's so embarrassing right here. They went from January 5 million ounces to February 1.5 to March 1 to April 850, and then jumped to 1.3 million, and then 861, and they are still illegally. I don't even know what you call it anymore. They have a head of HR as the person running the mint now. She knows nothing apparently about making silver eagles. It is illegal for the United States of America not to make silver eagles in quantities to meet demand. There's such bullshit going around about why this is happening. Why can't they make silver eagles to meet demand? Right now, we're looking at almost a 50% premium when you buy silver eagles. That's insane. That's not the way it's supposed to be. But that's your government, America. You get what you pay for, right? Hey, if they can't make silver eagles to meet demand, why not get someone else? Why not just fire the whole staff? And I know people. I knew a guy within pretty high up there at the mint. He says, we can make as many as they want. They're the ones telling us how much to make. The upper echelon. So they're telling the people who work at the mint not to make silver eagles. Why? Because they're so hugely important. Anyway, silver traded yesterday, 450 million ounces of electronic silver. That's more than half the production of the world. And on the futures and options contract, yesterday they traded that much. And who was doing all the trading? It's easy to find out. Just go to the delivery. This month will be the smallest delivery month in history. Why? Because everything's being delivered OTC, over the counter, and everybody's left the Comex except the big banks. So you want to see who's doing it? All right, let's take a look. We will go to right here, 2,500 contracts is what's going to be delivered, has been delivered so far. It will get up to 3,000, which is like what, about 18 million ounces. So that'll be it. One of the smallest delivery months ever, when there's such a lack of silver that the U.S. Mint can't even make silver eagles. And who's doing all the trading? Citigroup, Bank of America, or J.P. Morgan. Bank of America is all OTC, by the way, now. They don't even go near the Comex. Mainly J.P. Morgan is doing half the volume, and then HSBC took a big delivery of 5 million ounces. Why even have an exchange if 99% of the trades going on the Comex are going to be the same banks trading back and forth to each other? Why even have it? That's where we're headed. I don't think we'll see $600 silver with the Comex open. Comex will have to shut down. Futures and options will end. And I think that's what's coming. Anyway, take a look at the Silver Eagle program, and you can go to the mint and say what the hell, what's going on about the mint, leadership of the mint. And there she is. Ventures Gibson is the director of the U.S. Mint. She was in HR. She was the in charge of HR. It's such a sad state of affairs at the U.S. Mint. And at the LBMA in London, they somehow are trading transferring 250 million ounces of silver every day. It's so broken. This entire system is so broken. We let the banks take over our lives, and we're reaping what we sow. Inflation's going out of control, and silver's at near all-time lows. Okay, that's just fine. Anyway, keep an eye on silver. It will break free. It will destroy the banks. I just can't tell you what day. But it will be all done behind the scenes. That's what we look at the road to Ruta when we're diving into silver. The Comex means nothing. Comex price means nothing, although it's the only price on the planet that people use for pricing their silver. There is no other exchange. The LBMA is not an exchange. Obviously, they don't trade transfer physical silver 250 million ounces a day. That would be impossible. So yes, it's just the Comex. No other exchange on the planet to price your silver. I know, broken record. That's all right. It's a record that we have to keep playing. We have to keep exposing these criminals. And speaking of exposing criminals, those of you in the crypto world are just getting your first taste of cryptos, and you saw the prices get crushed. This was done by your government. In the U.S., this was done by Janet Yellen, Jerome Powell, Rustin Benham, the head of the CFTC, and Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, they got together and they decided, and here's how they did it. They said, okay, we're going to let the DeFi run. We're going to let all these crazy Ponzi schemes run, and then we're going to start putting the pressure on, clamping down on exchanges. That'll drive the price down so that everybody will be begging for regulation. Bring regulation to cryptos. I just lost my family fortune. You can blame your regulator and your elected officials for that. Well, they are not. Yeah. Our friend over at the at CFTC, but they're doing their job. Look, CFTC orders JP Morgan to pay $850,000 for swap reporting failures. And the line that got me, JP Morgan is literally fined every day because that's how they get out of jail. They make $10 billion and then they pay an $850 million fine. They even bake that money in, the cost of litigation, into every deal they do. How do I know that? I was in banking. I know it. My company did too. We didn't bake in what JP Morgan bakes in, but we weren't as big of criminals. Just imagine what they get away with versus what they're fined for. It's insane. But listen to this. The order specifically finds that from September 2015 to February 2020, JP Morgan failed to report approximately 2.1 million short-dated foreign exchange transactions. 2.1 million transactions. These unreported short-dated FX swap transactions represented approximately 51% of the total number of FX swaps that JP Morgan executed during the same period. It's like, why even have rules if the largest trading entity on the planet is not going to report half of its trades? And then they get a slap on the wrist and go ahead, go keep rigging the markets, JP Morgan. And these are the cops on the beat. Rustin Benham, we know him. Commissioner Kristen Johnson, ex-JP Morgan, Christy Gold Romero, Summer Messenger, and Caroline Pham. Caroline Pham just gave a speech, by the way. Let's go take a look at her speech. Where is it? Here it is. There it is. This is the regulation of the future building responsible digital asset markets. Anybody who thinks cryptos are dead, you are not reading the news. You are not reading what's going on at the regulators. They're smashing the cryptos so they can bring in regulation, and she gives a full speech on how much CFTC is needed in these crazy markets because they crashed. She doesn't say that that group helped crash the crypto market. Let me read a little of what she said. We are again in the midst of what could be another monumental or abrupt change that disrupts the current market structure equilibrium. Basically, the CFTC is saying we're ready for some big collapse. There's a lot going on. New technologies, particularly distributed ledger technology, DLT, and blockchains, whether permissioned or permissionless, present opportunities and risks. They can present a future of potentially promising and untold advancements. DLT could change the essential nature of money, payments, and finance. In the present, crypto markets recently have risen to and fallen from trillions of dollars in value. Non-bank financial intermediaries are playing a larger role in financial markets. And all of this is against the backdrop of heightened global volatility, inflation fears, and geopolitical clashes. So this conference comes at the right time. You think there's a financial crash coming or what? Financial market infrastructures, intermediaries, other participants, authorities, and global bodies are all focused on the promise and pitfalls of digital assets and DLT. Legal and legislative developments such as proposed bills working their way through the U.S. Congress and others such as the European Union's proposed markets and crypto assets regulation and international efforts at the G20 and Financial Stability Board all raise questions about the future of global regulatory landscape, what it will look like. And recent plunges in crypto prices, the crypto crisis as she's calling it, and she put it in quotes, in liquidity and credit amplified by leverage and substantial retail losses make it crystal clear that we need to balance innovation with retail protection. Cryptos have crashed, so you have to call up the SEC and the CFTC and the Fed and the Treasury come save us without telling them that they were the ones that caused the crash. They were the one that put together this scam a year ago, more than a year ago, to get all the DeFi up, blowing up, get everybody in, and then crash it to show you how much you need regulators. And what do regulators do? They just cover up the crimes of the manipulator. That's where we are. I think I highlighted one more part. And this is what she said. From a market regulation and market conduct perspective, no matter how much things change, some things are still the same. The basics apply across any asset class or technology. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, and be responsible. That is the most pathetic thing I've ever heard coming from the CFTC, who ran 3 investigations into silver manipulation while JP Morgan was rigging the silver market. It took the DOJ to come in to shut them down, and they only got them on a technicality. Spoofing. And the reason JP Morgan admitted to spoofing is no one else could sue them because they didn't affect price. They never executed a trade, so it would be hard to sue them and say, well, I lost money because you did this, because they never actually executed a trade. That's the only reason. They never, I mean, the big obvious thing is concentration. JP Morgan owns every single market. They are the big gorilla in every single market and rig every single market, along with the help of the DOJ and not the DOJ, help with the Federal Reserve and the Treasury. Anyway, not a lot of fun out there but at the end of the day, this is all going to go away. And everything is going to have to revert to fair market value. Yes, they have been rigging the silver market since at least the 1960s with the computer programs implemented by Alan Greenspan. I've showed it a million times. I've proven it a million times. I've proven it so many times that the Federal Reserve of New York even put me into one of their comic books. The story of the Federal Reserve. If you go to the New York Fed, to their comic book session, yes, they have a comic book session. Go to the story of the Federal Reserve System. And there I am, Brad, a.k.a. Glix. They call me Glix, Glix instead of Bix. And he's a rock star. Look at this. Recording studio, I get a contract teaching everybody about the Fed. And there I am up on stage. We're going to be doing that very soon. I did want to point out at the end of this, if you look at my band right here, I had a band. Dick Allgaier on guitar and Snippy on the drums. Look at we're right here. That's Dick Allgaier on guitar, a little balding head with the poof of hair, and that's Snippy dressed as a robot playing drums. There you go. That's the band. Anyway, yes, I feel cool being in a Federal Reserve Bank comic book, but it also justifies what I've been screaming about this whole time. The way they found Glix, the way he became famous, is that he was in the Federal Reserve archives. Well, they called it a library, digging through. That's what I was doing. That's how I found the Road to Ruta document, in the Fed archives. Fed has archives going back. I mean, the original Road to Ruta documents, the original Road to Ruta comic book, and the teacher's guide were printed in 1981. That's 40 years ago. 40 years ago, they've been planning to go back to a gold standard. They've been planning to destroy the banksters. Alan Greenspan, with his computer programs, was rigging the market to try and get back to a gold standard. How do you take out this criminal cabal that has controlled our lives? It's hard. But you're going to have to crash everything ultimately. And that's what's coming. So, anyway, that's your cool story. Go to roadtoruta.com. I just posted an uncensored version of Ken Swartz and myself talking about, it's called Screw the Government. And he was talking about how pretty much all electronics they're spying on you with now. Anything you plug in, they have some way of either listening to you or looking at you. If you look at your computer, they're looking at you. If you have a camera on your computer covered up, but it still won't stop it. They can listen to everything you say. Through your phone, through computers, you name it. Go check that out. That is in the uncensored version on the private road at roadtoruta.com. All right? It's right. This is the private access area. And if you go the Ginny Moonstone, go check those out. All the road shows, and there it is, Road to Ruta Uncensored. And that video appears right there. There's a lot of great uncensored stuff, the stuff we can't talk about on YouTube for whatever reason. And I do want to point out we will be leaving on July 17th on our next road show, going to Sonoma, Salt Lake City, Denver, Kansas City, St. Louis, Austin, and Oklahoma City, finishing up with a big party with Litecoin Lisa and her crowd. And we got a whole bunch of friends coming out on the road with us. Come check us out. And you can get your tickets by clicking on Roadshow. Click on Roadshow at roadtoruhr.com. The documentary's up there that Josh did, really cool. You can watch that. But also at the bottom, you can get your tickets for each place. Make sure you get them early because we do sell out on occasion, depending on how big we try to judge the size of a place we need to get versus the amount of people coming. So if you're going to come, make sure you get your tickets. Go check it out right there. This is Bix Weir, roadtoruhr.com. I'll talk to you guys later.